Over the last couple weeks, we've been watching Disney Plus's first Marvel Cinematic Universe show, Wandavision. Connor, what is the plot of Wandavision?
Wandavision is the first Marvel show set in the new era, post-Endgame. I suppose there was Spider-Man Far From Home, but that was kind of something of an epilogue. It stars Wanda, who through her grief after the death of Vision, Quicksilver, etc., created a town where sitcoms come to life. I don't know. That's basically it. And then absurdity ensues. And we will get into spoilers and our thoughts. So if you came to us for some reason for a plot synopsis, there you go. So Aiden, what did you think of WandaVision?
It has ups and downs. There are times when I really liked it. There are times that I didn't like it. The concept of the show is fun. You got lots of they do little spoof throwback things to all sorts of different sitcoms. It starts out in like an I Love Lucy black and white 50s style. And the show has generally good production design, and it goes through all the different eras. There's a Brady Bunch episode or two, and Malcolm in the Middle. The
Bewitched.
last of the sitcom ones is
Modern
Family, whatever it's called. And it goes up and down. The interest kind of comes and goes. There are times when it works really well, and there's like little hints of weird stuff and plot stuff going on that keeps you engaged, and then there would be some episodes that are just completely dull, inane shit, and then the ending, I guess we'll talk about in a little bit. The production design is good for a show. I think the characters are obviously carrying the show. The fucking Wanda and Vision have traditionally been terrible characters in the MCU. Terrible, boring characters who only got characterization in perhaps the worst movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, save Thor 2.
Yeah.
Age of Ultron is just fucking awful, and they're borderline not in any of the other ones.
Yeah.
So it's impressive that they kind of managed to make them into characters that people care about. The plot doesn't really come into play. There's little hints of weird stuff going on, and there's the outside world stuff. Wanda's created this little bubble fictional reality for herself to live in. And so there's a lot of times where it cuts back to like the real world where characters we know and love, like the two broke girls from Thor and Captain Marvel's friend's daughter, do
and the
stuff.
Asian guy from Ant-Man.
And the Asian guy from Ant-Man do stuff. That stuff is usually pretty unengaging. There's not a lot of it, but realistically, this probably didn't have to be a show. It probably could have just been a movie, because the plot doesn't really come into effect until like the last maybe 3 episodes, where the rest is all just set up. And it's not entirely unenjoyable setup. There are times when it works, where it's charming. I thought
the issue is the setup's the best part of the show.
Yeah, the payoff is not good. When the actual story comes into play, it's noticeably worse. It's even as the show progresses through the episodes, I think the stuff at the start is really strong, where it's like just these sitcom parody things that have little hints of weird stuff in them, and it keeps you interested and wondering, and then the answers are bad and the ending is bad, and you get a lot of cutaways to basically the entire reason fucking Jimmy Wong, I believe his name is, the FBI agent from Ant-Man, and two broke girls are in the movie, is just to explain things to the audience, because Disney assumes the audience is too dumb to get it.
Right.
Yeah, I think we'll save the ending talk for another minute, but Connor, what did you think of WandaVision?
Like you, I was very mixed on the show. When they did weird stuff, like the first 3 episodes were kind of a slow burn, but it kind of was building to something, it felt like. And then the last 6 episodes were kind of the meat of the story, and those episodes were very hit or miss. Like,
Yeah.
episode 5, everyone knows this by now, but Evan Peters was introduced, Quicksilver from the X-Men films, and you're like, oh, what are they going to do with him? Is he going to be like from another universe or something, like the other X-Men universe, or is he going to be Quicksilver? Is it going to be like a shape-shifting thing? What's the deal with him? Is he a different speedster, but somehow she got tricked? We don't know, but really, like, it's felt like a gimmick. Like, a lot of things in this show felt like a gimmick to keep us coming back when it was all fucking pointless.
Yeah, the whole Evan Peters bullshit was just...
I mean, we can talk about the ending, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
So, spoiler alert for the rest of the thing. But,
the Evan Peters thing was bullshit to get people to write clickbait articles.
But then at the end, it turned out to be a mirror villain. So, back to my big philosophy, the video I've made 5 fucking years ago now, where I talk about mirror villains. And it's just like, okay, so it's this mirror villain witch lady who shoots lasers at Wanda that are purple. Well, Wanda shoots red lasers at her, and then Wanda wins.
It
And a
goes
big
even
laser
further with
flies
the
into
vision.
the sky.
There's a big laser.
Oh, and there's also a mirror version of Vision as well.
An exact clone of Vision, and they also shoot lasers and punch
And
each
it's
other.
like, everything too gets kind of cheated, because the kids come in because they have to establish them for Young Avengers, and like, your kids aren't real, they're gone. But then she hears like their voices, so we know they're coming back. But then on top of that, we also have Vision, like the Vision from the show, who is basically like revived by Wanda, is replaced with Vision 2.0. But Vision 2.0, before he flies off, gets the memories of the old Vision. So there's just a cop-out that's like, okay, she gets everything she wanted. Quicksilver's still dead. It turns out that the character wasn't
He was
Pietro
some guy
from the X-Men movies, but he was just some
like
guy.
Tony Boner or something.
Ralph Boner. So Ralph Boner comes in, and it's like, get it? My name's like a fucking wiener. I'm an actor. It's all fake. How did you get speedster powers? I guess just Scarlet Witch's energy,
magic
all this
necklace
crap.
that Agnes gave her.
But it's clearly a troll to the audience. It's not like they're like, oh, we wrote this and developed this character, Ralph Boner, and Evan Peters was the perfect man to play the part. It was, we want to troll the audience.
We want to get a bunch of press and publicity because people are going to make speculation about how the X-Men fit into this.
Well, you make it in episode 5,
and then it's just some guy who's called Boner.
Right, you make it in episode 5, too, so people are forced to watch till the end.
Yeah.
Everything on this like just felt like, okay, you establish something interesting in the first 3 episodes, but not much happens. But I'm kind of interested. Episode 4 kind of gets into the story. Episode 5, you have Evan Peters come in, and then you don't reveal till the last like minute of the show, oh, it's just some guy. And then it becomes a big laser fight. Like, it may as well have just been any other Marvel thing, which is so disappointing because you set up all this shit, but then the 3 episodes, like everything that's set up that's interesting isn't paid off. If you really wanted to make the show good, you'd make it about Wanda's eternal struggle, and that it was all Wanda's fault, which it turned out to be, but you also just need the other villain because you need a fucking villain, apparently.
Yeah, this show really didn't need a villain. Like, the fact that Wanda and Vision have discussions about what Wanda is doing being wrong, like, you could have had a genuine story about her overcoming her grief and learning to let go, but instead she has a laser battle with a laser witch, and Vision has a Vision laser battle with Vision.
I liked the stuff that delved into her backstory in episode 7.
Yeah, episode 7 kind of made me think that
a lot
maybe
of people
things
were
would be
like,
okay, and then...
Right. And a lot of people were like, well, the Halloween episode's really good. And it's like, the issue is, there are good ideas, but this doesn't need to be a TV show. Make the first 3 episodes 20 minutes. Episode 4, you can probably cut like half of the sitcom shit, but have like the overarching sitcom stuff. Episode 5, really just needs the reveal of Evan Peters, maybe a little stuff there. Like, I feel like there's a solid hour and a half, 2 hour fan edit. The problem is, since they wanted to make a TV show so they can get Disney Plus subscribers and essentially charge... Because if you're just using Disney Plus like I do to watch this show, you essentially pay $7 a month. It ran over 2 months, so that's $14 right there. And then we're going right into the next Marvel show. Yeah. So essentially, you have a little over a price for a movie ticket. You keep all the money for yourself instead of having to share revenue, and you win. So, but you have to keep the audience engaged, so you fucking clickbait them. But at the same time, they don't want to introduce the X-Men yet. They don't want to introduce the multiverse. They didn't want to bring back Doctor Strange. Like, you're making the multiverse of madness. Why not just say, ooh, the X-Men are canon?
They don't want to.
And then Evan Peters says, I have to go back to my world or something, and they didn't send him back.
They didn't want to take the risk to have a show that didn't end in 2 characters with identical powers shooting lasers at each other while a sky laser was in there.
Imagine if the show actually paid off trying to be different. Like, they
really did not need a villain.
And not only does it kind of clickbait Marvel fans with like the Evan Peters stuff, but like as a genuine story fan, I was kind of intrigued with what they were going with, but they pussied out to actually make something interesting. I could forgive the Evan Peters shit if it was an interesting story, but it ended up just falling flat and dragging me along, pretending it's interesting and had intrigue, when in reality it's all in service of eventually having a laser clone battle, which is my biggest pet peeve with Marvel. It's like, you're too lazy to come up with a villain, so that's what we get. Yep. I thought like the show kind of like ruined itself at the end for me. But so Aiden, do you have any more thoughts?
No, I think we covered a good portion of it.
So, would you recommend watching WandaVision?
It's tough. I don't usually feel this conflicted. Usually I have a better answer. There's really strong elements in WandaVision. Really interesting stuff. But then it's paid off really badly, so like, watching it for the interesting stuff doesn't really work, because it just ends so terribly that it feels like you just wasted all that time.
It doesn't. I mean, there's even bad episodes in the middle. Like
episode
7 was bad. Episode 6 was pointless.
Yeah, there's
episode 5 was kind
of in the middle too.
Bad until Evan Peters shows up, and you kind of forget about how bad it was.
It's like, yeah.
And episode 1, 2, and 3 are pointless since they set up a bunch of shit that doesn't even matter, or they fake set it up. They're like, we didn't really set it up. You think that, but you're meant to think this is better than it is.
Yeah.
They designed
it's all a
the
fucking
show.
Trick. It's a fucking magic trick. Like in the second episode, they set up something interesting, and then they step behind their fucking curtain, and they pull out a bag of fucking shit and throw it in your face.
You know what this is? This is my fear for Marvel properties. Is like, okay, you have something like Thor Ragnarok where it fits within the Marvel mold, but it goes out of the box a little bit and it works. Guardians of the Galaxy 2. This wanted to essentially leave the Marvel mold entirely, but I think this also shows the limitations of how far they'll allow you to pull those wires.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this is as far away from the Marvel formula as you can get, but it still ends with a clone antagonist and our protagonist fighting with lasers. And it's like, does that make a sustainable franchise? And it almost makes me feel like, and knock on wood, but it almost feels like at least Falcon and the Winter Soldier is honest. You're seeing 2 characters fight supervillains. That's what it is. There's probably some political intrigue because it's based on the Captain America series, but you know what you're getting. And this is just a lie for half the episodes.
The thing that really gets me is that they knowingly took advantage. They knew. They did things that they knew would get people to speculate and make shitty YouTube videos and write articles just to drum up publicity. It's all this entire show, it's not even a show, it's a fucking marketing stunt for their fucking streaming platform.
Right.
It's just clickbait in show form.
I mean,
so fuck it, I'm not recommending
the
it.
first 3 episodes are designed to get people intrigued, like, oh, Marvel's really changed. The preceding 3 episodes are designed to get clickbait articles like Emergency Awesome or whatever the fuck else, to make a bunch of articles about how there's leaks about how Evan Peters is going to be in the X-Men. And then the last 3 episodes is to satisfy. Don't worry, we're with the Marvel status quo. With the exception of episode 7, which actually expanded Wandavision's character, and I liked it quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm not gonna recommend it. It's bullshit. Connor, would you recommend WandaVision?
I think I won't recommend it in the same vein as watching it weekly. I liked it at times, and I was excited to watch the next episode. But it's just like, oh, so that's what it is. At the end, I watched everything. I'm like, so everything kind of like just blue-balled me. It's not actually a weird thing. You're getting blue-balled about all these secrets that they act like they're setting up. They blue-ball you on the fucking Evan Peters shit. They blue-ball you on making an interesting villain. This show's just a huge blue ball. And I feel like if I waited 2 years and I just binged this whole show in one day when I kind of like halfway forget about it because I forget about all these Marvel fucking movies. But if I wait 2 years, watch it all in 1 or 2 days, I would just hate the fucking thing. Yeah, it's just not worth it. Like, it's good at stringing you along. I'll give Kevin Feige
that's all it's good at.
But that's what it is. And I see people rating it highly. There were times where if it kept up what it was doing in the first 3 episodes, and even like going into episode 4 and 5, like if it kept up what it was doing with the first 5 episodes, if it kept that energy for the final half, I might have had one of my like top 5 MCU. I guess at this point we can't even call them films, but projects. We could have had a top 5 MCU project, but what I end up having is I think I ranked this one just below Captain Marvel because it's like just blue balls. Yeah, it's not the worst thing in the MCU, but I can't recommend it with good consciousness for like. It's a blue ball, and I feel like if I watched it again, it would just lower. And actually talking about this kind of made me want to lower it more, and I already kind of like fucking was not generous to the show. So no. And I mean, I'm excited for Captain America and the Winter Soldier because I like my Marvel schlock to watch one time.
I'm sure.
No, I mean, I like my Marvel schlock to watch one time, but I like Marvel schlock that's honest. This Marvel schlock lied to you for fucking 9 episodes, and then you end up
Captain America and Winter Soldier will be very honest about being a dumb action show, and that might make it
you know what, I would prefer Falcon and the Winter Soldier to be over a dumb action show, though. A 2-hour movie. I could watch this and say, yep, okay, that was fun. Give it a 2.5, give it a 3.5 star on Letterboxd or whatever. Never watch it again.
Captain America and Winter Soldier, or fucking Winter Soldier and fucking Falcon aren't important characters that people care about. So if it was a movie, nobody would see it, but they still would. But Disney thinks they wouldn't.
Yeah, I don't even know what they're thinking. That's not their thought process. Because look at what they're doing with Marvel. They're like, okay, She-Hulk, that might do okay because it's Hulk-based. Not going to do great. Miss Marvel's not going to do great. WandaVision wouldn't do great. But you got like Falcon and the Winter Soldier would do pretty good. You got like Loki, which I think would do pretty good because everyone needs to dick suck Loki, and I feel like if they brought it, MCU fans would come out. You got a lot of these shows, Moon Knight even, a lot of these feel like safer bets than the shit they're putting in theaters. Because look at what's coming up this year. Black Widow, okay, I can see it. Black Widow's kind of beloved because she's been coming along in the Avengers.
The Black Widow movie is getting made because it's like when they gave Leonardo DiCaprio the Oscar and they're like, you know, you came close a bunch of times, so we're just going to give it to you. I mean, fine. That's what Black Widow is.
I mean, fine. I think Scarlett Johansson earns the solo check playing supporting role in how many goddamn movies? Iron Man 2, Captain America 2, all
Get your paycheck, Scarlett. Do it.
No,
you deserve it.
And I mean, it's going to be a James Bond movie set in the MCU. It's going to be dumb and retarded, but who cares? But then you got the other 2 movies, Shang-Chi? Shang-Chi? You think that's going to sell in America? Shang-Chi? Have you seen that dumbass fucking Hamlet-ass costume they're giving you?
Doesn't matter if
it's
Shang-Chi...
China. It's China.
It's China pandering.
But the problem is, Disney sucks at China pandering.
Yes, they do.
They suck at it. They keep fucking up. It's like, you know what China wants?
Movies.
China doesn't want...
If they wanted to make a real China pandering movie...
Make white people shooting lasers at each other.
No. You're forgetting one key element. What it would be, you take, let's see, what's the character Chinese people like the best? I'm gonna guess Iron Man. Iron Man comes back to life. He says this Iron Man suit stuff is pretty lame, and he builds a 40-foot robot that he pilots around and punches other giant robots.
And he gives it to his
And
Chinese
it's directed by
friendly-
Michael Bay.
Yep.
Yeah, and his Chinese friendly operates
the
a different second robot that has a big Chinese star on it.
I am the war machine. We've gone on many great adventures. That would be so fucking funny. We've gone on many great adventures, Tony. Me how, Tony? I must go back to my homeland. And he starts sewing soccer balls in China. Okay, let's fuck it up. Anyways, but yeah, no, I wouldn't recommend it. The Eternals looks awful, and all their costumes look awful and
I don't know
ugly.
what the Eternals is.
I don't know either, and I read comics for like a decade, and I'm
The
like,
Eternals
yeah,
is
I've
like
seen the Eternals.
Space X-Men or something?
No. They're,
Okay.
okay, so here's the
Oh
lore.
wait, the Inhumans is
Here-
Space
here's
X-Men. That's the one
lore.
that had the really bad TV show.
So Jack Kirby's like, and I'm not 100% on the lore, but this is my understanding. So New Gods was a thing. So
I'm somewhat aware of the New Gods.
Jack Kirby's like, fuck Marvel, and made the New Gods, right? And then then Marvel is like, come back to Marvel. So then he made the Eternals, which was just the New Gods, but for Marvel. And then he said, fuck you guys again, Marvel, you're fucking me over again. So he continued the story, basically, of Eternals.
He just
back at
switched
DC.
it, transferred it back to New Gods.
Yeah, transferred it back to New Gods. So, essentially, we're going to see a New Gods movie, too, which is basically going to be the Eternals movie, but DC. So in a lot of ways, we're going to see DC tackle, like, the exact same superhero team, essentially.
That's going to be fascinating, actually.
It's going to be a fascinating comparison. I think they'll both be terrible.
I'm sure they will.
Because the
Sounds
thing
not
that
good.
makes Eternals and New Gods cool is not the story.
They have the trippy artwork.
It's just the trippy Jack Kirby artwork. Because by the time in the 70s, he's been doing artwork for like 50 fucking years.
Yeah,
he's
and
old
he makes
as
all
hell.
this like gigantic polka dot galaxy landscapes
Right,
and
he
crap.
just did nothing. He would like invite his fans over to like eat brunch with him and his wife and watch him fucking draw these elaborate fucking landscapes and shit.
Sounds pretty cool.
That dude could whip up like some of the most intriguing comic pages ever created, like legendary comic pages in like a fucking hour somehow. That
Wow.
dude was unholy. But anyways, yeah, that was basically my point is
That was one.
that will be interesting, and that was WandaVision, which was interesting and then not interesting and shit. And I guess if you have a Disney Plus subscription and you're a big Marvel fan, watch it.
And
But
you wanna
don't
waste
buy,
8 hours?
Definitely don't buy a Disney Plus subscription. If you're not a Marvel fan, you're gonna fucking be cock blocked and
Watch
think
the
you like
first.
it.
Watch the first 3 episodes and then make up your own better ending.
Yeah. Watch the first 5 episodes and then just headcanon the rest.
Yeah. Whatever you
Watch-
imagine is better than how it
Watch
actually would.
watch the first 5 episodes and then just headcanon the rest. That's basically actually probably the best logic. Anyways, so we're doing like we're doing 6 videos today.
Mhm.
So, and it's already like 11, so we're gonna be
Moving
in the
on.
Moving on. Lots of Drunkviews coming up. Everybody's favorite show on our channel, Drunkview.